My name's Shannon, DA's man. My cigarette's Chesterfield King.
Nothing satisfies like the big, clean taste of top tobacco in Chesterfield King.
Chief!
Top tobacco, straight grade A, of top tobacco in the USA. Sun-drenched top tobacco's gonna mean that you're smoking smoother and you're smoking clean. The very best tobacco in the USA gives you big, clean flavor in a big, big way. Chesterfield!
Chesterfield King. More straight grade A top tobacco. Top length, top value. Top tobacco filter action. Chesterfield King.
Chesterfield!
Jewelry valued at about $7,000. And how many suits, Mr. Denver?
5. I'd say they're worth about $1,200 or so. My insurance broker can give you the exact figure.
I see. And this is the best description of the other one you can give me?
Well, he was on top of me before I could really see him. All I can tell you is what I remembered seeing as the two of them went out the door.
Your attorney told me you can be reached at your office during the day. Is that right? Jerome Denver Productions?
Yes, that's correct. I'm preparing a new show for next season.
And you're sure of the description of the one that helped you?
Oh, yes. Copper skin, high cheekbones. And again, I can't be quite sure, but I believe I heard the other one call him Chief. Just as they were leaving, he said Chief.
Uh-huh.
I still can't get over it. It's like an anachronism. An Indian in New York City.
There aren't too many at that. We do have a small settlement over in Brooklyn, you know.
No, sir, I didn't.
Full-blooded Mohawk, handful of Sioux.
That's where I've seen him.
Sir?
He could have been the original model for this.
Step number 1. On the 12th day of November, year not specified, Special Investigator Shannon was assigned to the case by my office, Assistant District Attorney, Borough of Manhattan, City of New York. His first move was to check through the Indian settlement in Brooklyn.
Hello.
Something I can do for you?
Yeah, I'm looking for an Indian they call Chief.
Is this a joke?
I didn't mean it to be. All I know is they call him by that name.
Mister, there are hundreds of Indians in this area.
So I understand.
And every day some smart-mouth guy calls them Chief. They think it's a rib. They don't like that. Those men sitting there, go ask them.
I wonder if you can help me. I'm looking for a man known as Chief. All three of you?
Katina, Apache. Red Horse, Mohawk. Charlie Two Bears, Sioux.
Chiefs, huh?
All three. One of those the man you're looking for?
No, my man's around 35.
You're a bill collector.
No, I'm an insurance man. I need him as a witness, traffic accident.
Your mouth says one thing, your eyes say another.
Look, I didn't come here to fight the battle of the Little Bighorn. I'm trying to locate a guy. He just happens to be an Indian.
We believe you. Not about the insurance. But we think we know the man you search for.
You want to tell me?
Well, he's pretty rough. We don't allow him in here anymore. Always picking fights with the customers.
Sounds like a good candidate. What's his name and where can I find him?
Jim Spotted Deer. Stays just down the street. Carl's rooming house.
Thanks.
A word of advice. I wouldn't call him Chief either.
Step number 2. In a rundown boarding house, Shannon questioned the Indian known as Spotted Deer. He got nowhere. The man claimed that he could not speak English. Step number 3. Early that afternoon, I met with Shannon at my uncle's wig shop. We'd contacted the Relocation Bureau and several other agencies which dealt with Indians.
I don't get it.
Is that the man you just saw?
Yes?
Turn it over.
Spotted Deer. James E. Home, Anadarko, Oklahoma. Education, Southwestern Technical College, 4 years. What?
Keep going.
Occupation skill electronic engineer. Is this on the level?
Government records. We checked him out. Perfectly clean. Apparently he's been involved in some tribal fight down at the bar. That's why they don't like him.
I guess I've got a lot to learn about Indians.
You can narrow the field. We're just looking for one.
Are we really?
What do you mean?
All right, here's what we got. 6 robberies in the last month. Same M.O., jewelry, clothing. One man pulling all of them. Then on the last job, there are 2 men. One of them identified as an Indian.
So?
Nobody ever identified him before.
They couldn't. He had a mask up to here.
That's just the point, Al. We go on the assumption that the Indian pulled all these jobs. Just picked up a partner for the last one. How do you know it wasn't the other way around?
Shannon, when you've been in this business as long as I have, you never know anything for sure. Until you dig up the lead that tells you.
What do you got?
This morning, 5 of Jerome Denver's suits turned up at a Broadway pawn shop. The broker was suspicious. He called us.
Who brought him in? Our boy or his partner?
They were a man and wife. Both Indians.
I'd say take your choice, mister. Lion bull, sitting bull, standing bull. You could put this fellow up with the others and never tell the difference. First Americans. Proud looking, aren't they?
Sure are.
Say, I'd be delighted to sell you the entire set, $650 with the frames. It's a great bargain. You better grab it.
I couldn't use them. I live in a hotel.
Ah, kind of makes you sad, don't it? Our forefathers, and nobody's got room for 'em anymore.
Mr. Zylo, when the Indian came in here this morning, did he talk at all?
Not much. Him and the wife had a few things to say to each other. I didn't get it, of course.
Their own language?
Kind of sounds like water running over stone. Beautiful sound. I guess I was kind of stupid, though.
How's that?
Well, in a place like this, you get to know an awful lot about people. The chiselers, the downers, the rail scrapers. Makes you suspicious. Can't help it. Sometimes you don't want to.
But you covered yourself on this. You called the police about the suits.
No, made me out kind of a dummy. 2 Indians walk in with $1,000 worth of clothing, and I took it. But let me tell you this, though. If that pair's working a con game, they're about the smoothest I ever saw.
Why do you say that?
Well, he's a handsome man. Eyes never move when they look at you.
What do you mean?
When the woman was telling me the story, it was the only time he didn't look at me. Stood right where you are. Said his wife bought the suits for him.
You went along with it?
Well, not at first. I asked him how she bought him. He grinned and said, we used to have it pretty good. I said, oh, explain that. And he said, we used to play Indians in the movies.
Step number 4. Shannon made a check of the Broadway theatrical agencies. One of these was run by a small-time booking agent, Harris Cragg.
Now, you take this fella, Mr. Shannon. I look at the TV pictures. Cowboys, they call them. They play like Cub Scouts alongside my man. He works with a horse. I tell you, that animal is Phi Beta Kappa.
Mr. Craig, I was asking about an Indian.
Yes, that's right.
Goes by the name of the chief. He supposedly worked in pictures.
Chiefs, huh? Always getting a call for something you haven't got. That reminds me of the time I got loaded up on marathon dance winners, and then the whole country turned to miniature golf.
But you did handle Indians. You've got one on the wall.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't exactly go by him.
Why not?
That's old Malachi Murphy, Black Irish. Never come any closer to the Indians than watching them play ball in Cleveland.
Do you know any agents who might handle somebody like this, Chief?
Sure, lots of them. Say, what you were saying about his being in pictures.
Yeah?
That rings a bell. A fella come to me one day, trying to put on a pageant up at the Catskills. Said he needed an Indian to stand on a great big rock. Let's see here. Yeah, here it is. I called some pals, and one of them said, sure, he had a tremendous Indian once in the movies. Then the pageant blew out, and that was the end of it.
Sounds like that might be the man.
No name, just Indian, 235 8th Avenue. That's a flop house. I remember the fella telling me that the Indian was down on his luck. He needed the job bad.
235 8th Avenue.
Correct.
That might help. Thanks, Mr. Craig.
Anytime, but don't let him get you off the track.
Huh?
Whenever you get ready to do a show, just remember that cowboy of mine.
Yeah, sure.
As I said, his horse is smarter than any producer I've ever seen.
Step number 5. Shannon checked out the 8th Avenue Flophouse. The Indian and his wife had left there 3 months before. Present address unknown.
You want the reservation papers? They're in the back. You want a beer? You serve yourself and sign your name in the credit book.
I'm looking for the bartender. I talked to him in here yesterday.
You ain't a member of the club, are you?
Member?
FBI club. Full-blooded Indian.
Afraid not.
A visitor. Maybe we don't want to seem discriminating. No, sir. You're as welcome here as if you were in the Elks Club back home. My name's Lewicki, Louis Lewicki. I run the novelty shop up the block. I see the confusion in your face. You say here's an Indian, but he's got a Polish name, right?
You're still ahead of me, Louis.
Yeah, you find all kinds of handles among our people, German, Irish, Polak. You know why that is? In the old days, when the soldiers ran the reservations, they used to tag our people with numbers instead of names. I don't get the wrong idea now. We're not sensitive about it. You don't have to write your congressman. Anyway, pretty soon we started getting friendly with the soldiers, and we took their names instead of numbers. That's how you get Irish Apaches, Italian Cheyennes, and Polish Modocs like me.
Interesting. When will the bartender be back?
Few minutes. Take a tip, matey. Don't waste your time on him. He's pretty close to the blanket.
How's that?
Reservation happy, uncivilized. Now you take me. How about a beer?
Okay.
Save the wampum. I'll just write it here in the credit book.
Thanks.
Who, as a George Bernard Shaw says, I'd rather talk about myself. It makes more interesting conversation. So, if you want to know what my angle is, I'll tell you. I am a professional Indian.
You wouldn't be an actor, would you?
You kidding? I'm a businessman. I sell Indian law to the Indians.
Well, that's a switch.
Yeah. I make all the big towns. Chi, Philly, L.A. Lots Indian boys coming in from the reservations now, working factories, construction jobs. But most of them got one weak spot.
What's that?
Homesickness. Indians set a big store by clan, what you call family. Well, old Louis takes care of that.
You mean they really buy this stuff?
Some of them do. You see, matey, we're kind of split right down the middle. We're trying to lead one kind of life up here in the cities, want to. Other hand, even if you pretend otherwise, you just don't tear out your roots in a couple of generations.
I guess the road gets a little rough sometimes.
You know something, matey? You're talking like a member of the club. How, old hawk? Gent looking for you.
Was he the man I told you?
No, but I did find out something else about the one I want.
What's that?
Used to be in movies, played Indian parts. He's out of a job. You know him now? You gonna tell me?
He was here when you came last time. Before that, too. Usually sits all day reading papers from the Sioux Reservation, braiding leather, just looking out of the window.
Where is he now?
Go on in. He's waiting for you.
Steady, open up the bay. Target straight ahead, now bounds away. On a practice bombing run, you'll find a man stops and takes big pleasure when and where he can. Chesterfield. Always the top tobacco, straight grade A. The top tobacco in the USA. Sun-drenched top tobacco's gonna mean that you're smoking smoother and you're smoking clean. The very best tobacco in the USA gives you big, clean flavor in a big, big way. Chesterfield.
Chesterfield King. More straight grade A top tobacco. Top length, top value, top tobacco filter action. Chesterfield King.
Chesterfield.
Are you the law?
Do they call you the chief? An actor? What's your real name?
Badger. Jesse Badger. I was hoping to get finished.
What do you mean?
Rawhide. You braid it just right, it makes good reins or lariats. Maybe a day more it'll be done. But that don't matter. Hot in here. Don't worry, I'm not jumping out. I've been out. I knew you would come. This robbing people. Shisha. No good.
How many jobs do you do, Chief? I mean, Jesse.
Thanks. Just one.
There were 6 all told.
I'm telling you the truth. One. Mr. Denver.
Who worked with you? Your wife?
No. Met him in a bar. We got talking. Sarah, my wife, she was half sick, hadn't eaten for 3 days. You get this all the time, don't you?
Go ahead, Jesse.
He asked me, this man, could I use a gun? I laughed at him. In Dakota. I had a gun and a horse when I was 10 years old. Then he said there was money in it. That was all. That was enough.
Did you know what the job would be?
Not until we got to the apartment. He gave me a mask and pushed open the door.
What was his name?
Don't know his name. He just said, call me Slick. We going now?
Not right now. Wait here a minute. I'll be right back. All I got to go on, the name Slick. Might be a nickname, might not.
We'll run a make on it. Hold the Indian there. I'll send LaBelle for him.
I guess that's the procedure, all right.
What's the matter? You think he's lying?
Not this guy, Al. Give me a little more time with him, will you?
Sounds like you're becoming a blood brother.
Put it this way. I could be a lot worse off. Where's your wife, Jesse?
Hoboken. She's got a cousin there, works in the shipyard. She's gonna believe him now.
How's that?
He told us we should go home. Dakota, where we belong.
Maybe he was right. How'd you happen to leave?
2 years ago, some people came to the Pahasapa, Sacred Hills. So many trucks and cars, you could see their dust all the way to the Badlands. Some of us followed them. They were making a movie. They hired me. Never had that much money before. My wife wanted to leave the reservation. She said we could make out. But it is like a horse with one shoe missing.
How's that?
Pretty soon he limps. Then finally he's got to stop, can't go anymore.
Couldn't get a job?
A few, but not for long. You don't work cows in the city, or hunt, trap. That's all I know how to do.
If you were hungry, Jesse, you could have been taken care of here in New York.
It is hard for an Indian to beg. Maybe I got to now. Every Indian has two names, your kind and from his own people. This is mine. In our tongue, Wichanchpi Maza. Iron Star. In 1890, 1 mile from my home, hundreds of our people were slaughtered by the 7th Cavalry. After that, your race and ours were so sick at heart we never fought again. Did you know about it?
No.
After the battle, General Miles gave this star to my grandfather. Him and a few others. He said, rule yourself now. Make your own law on your land. You are free. When I left Dakota, my grandfather gave it to me. He said, if you ever get into trouble, you just show the Iron Star. Don't work anymore, I guess.
I'm afraid not, Jesse. I'm afraid not.
Step number 6. Shannon reported that the Indian, by his own choice, had turned himself in. We alerted the 39th Precinct to hold him and booked him. Less than a half hour after our alarm went out, Central Intelligence Division had picked up the man named Slick.
How about the Indian?
Don't know him.
We know you had a partner. Where were you last night?
Home.
You sure he's the one?
Yes, I can identify him positively.
Good. That wraps it up.
You certainly work fast on this, Mr. Bonacorsi.
Sometimes we get the breaks. We'll need your statement against Slick. We'll couple it with 5 more from the other people.
Be glad to. Just one thing, though.
What's that?
How about the Indian?
Well, that's a tough one. He's turned himself in. I doubt if he has any record. Probably pull a light sentence.
I'm no lawyer. Can't tell you how to run your business, but while I was listening to all of that in there, I got to thinking about the Indian.
I was, too.
I don't know what his crime really was, except meeting the wrong man at the wrong time. Maybe he did me a big favor.
How do you mean?
On some of those other robberies, the victims got beaten up quite badly by that man Slick. Maybe the Indian saved me that.
Hi, Al. This another assignment?
No. LaBelle said you had plans for the weekend, but I didn't think you'd mind a little delay.
Getting used to it. Case wrapped?
Yeah. Every victim fingered Slick.
What about the Indian?
Last night, I went with Denver down to Grand Central. We put the Indian and his wife on a train back to Dakota.
Sorry I didn't know about it. I'd been there with you.
You were?
Huh?
Before he left, he used a name I never heard before. Iron Star. Told me to give you this. Said you'd understand what it meant. Quite a bargain, wasn't it? A few beads, handful of buttons, a couple of yards of ribbon. That's what we paid the Indians for this island.
Yeah.
24 bucks. A lot of city for that money.
When a man works undercover, he's got to keep a lot of things to himself. I break the rules when it comes to my cigarette. Chesterfield King. I talk about him. Top length, top value. Chesterfield. My cigarette.
Welcome to Waikiki Beach, oasis in beautiful Hawaii.
Oasis, fresh as the break of day. Oasis, cool as the ocean spray. Oasis takes you away.
Away from the everyday in smoking to new freshness. Rich tobaccos, lightly cooled with menthol mist. New flavor, easygoing, gentled by a superfine white filter. Delightfully different, a refreshing change.
Oasis, fresh as the evening breeze. Oasis, cool as the shade of trees. Oasis takes you away.
Delightfully different, a refreshing change. Try Oasis.